So the agendas that will be discussed in today's meeting will be stated as in the presentation. So it's a moment of great honor for us to announce that we received the Indian Achievers Award in 2021 for the most promising startup. We as an organization believe in serving to the future of the energy industry through our digital platforms, courses, and services. So let's begin with our history and approach. So Advantage Learning is a training and consultancy firm aimed at guiding the students and professionals with in-depth knowledge of oil and gas industry. We established Advantage in May 2020. We have a team of 20 plus experienced oil and gas domain consultants. We are flexible in providing customized and unique training as per client requirements. We provide cost-effective oil and gas consultancy in upstream, midstream, and downstream. So our company works with the values. And so the first one of them is focus. Our goal is to assist learners in incorporating and applying new ideas, approaches, and tools by offering a highly interactive atmosphere that is focused on industrial needs. Our mission is committed to excellence, pledging a both student and professionals' experience of the highest quality through a range of oil and gas training. Our vision is to create an interactive platform for delivering cost-effective, customized oil and gas training and consultancy as per the client's requirement. So as we very well know that the trend of the oil and gas industry has changed, and that's why Advantage has also announced a number of courses in the digital oil and gas training. So few of them are listed in the slide. And the first one is data science and its application in oil and gas in collaboration with Persian Gulf University. The second one of them is learning energy data analytics in collaboration with Petroleum From Scratch. So as I mentioned that the trend of the oil and gas industry has changed. It has moved totally towards the data science. So in this slide, we will look over the data science overview of the oil and gas industries. As per the recent Energy Outlook report, by 2025, the demand of data science and machine learning skills is expected to drive 27.9% increment in employment. According to the recruiters and the companies, leading causes of skill shortage in industry is not having proper education and training. So this is our first table that shows that the top 10 oil and gas industries trend change in the year 2021. The second graph shows the leading causes of skill shortage in the industry according to recruiters and companies. Hope you all the participants must go with these two graphs. We'll wait for seconds. I hope you might have gone through both the graphs stated in this presentation. So now one must think that why we should learn data science in oil and gas. So the reasons are stated below, and the first one of them is to increase work efficiency by using data science application, reduce non-productive time by data visualization, gather and analyze multiple wells data in minimal time, demanding skill set of the present as well as the future. So here is our training feedback and the professionals from different regions worldwide. Now, you guys must be hovering around the thought that why one must go for Advantage institution. So here are the reasons listed below. The first one is cost-effective customized training programs as per client requirements. The second one, among only few ISO certified e-learning companies for oil and gas. We are awarded with promising oil and gas startup in 2021 by IAF. The fourth one is we have top tier faculty and consultants with an average 20 plus experience at oil and gas companies. We are focused on overall development of students and professionals from technological to brand building. We have placement and internship assistance to students and professionals. You can contact us at our corporate website, that is www.edvantage.org.in. We have the phone number stated here and the email address info@advantage.org.in. For providing us assistance and knowledge in the digital oil and gas, Edvantage collaborated with the Petroleum From Scratch. And let's welcome our guest, Divyanshu sir, who is designated as energy data scientist. He has a background in data science and is a well-known figure in the oil and gas industry for data science. He has worked on a variety of full-scale and mini-scale projects utilizing Python and its packages. Our second guest is Jayesh Chahar sir, who is designated as data scientist at Siemens. He's a highly qualified and skilled data scientist with over good experiences in engineering mathematics, univariate and multivariate calculus. He's also skilled in reservoir engineering, production engineering, and numerical simulations. So now I would like to hand over to our guests who are going to enlighten us in today's webinar.
Thank you for the introduction and welcome aboard everyone on this webinar. Thank you for taking your precious time out on this Sunday. And I hope this session, drives good amount of motivation, not just based on the numbers and the money that is going to come in with data being the new oil, but also because of how interesting the data world is, how interesting all these things are, and how it's good to have passion in the world of data science. And I hope you find your passion somewhere in this domain. We have been introduced already, and basically me and Jayesh both are academically petroleum engineers, and we have been working on various projects, both as a part of Petroleum From Scratch and as a part of our companies. We have been working on various domain data and hybrid solutions. So we are trying to continuously learn and upskill as we keep on trying to bring all these topics in an easy to understand language to the audience. So before we head on, and I'll be sharing a few things that can be done using Python in oil and gas industry. Before I move on, I would like Jayesh to, speak a few words, and then we will move forward.
Thank you, Divyanshu, for the introduction. The thing. So yeah, as Divyanshu said, we have worked on data science as well as data science in oil and gas industry. So we have done a couple of projects on that, whether in our company itself or in Petroleum From Scratch also. So yeah, the question is why as a petroleum engineer need to learn these skills, Python, or you can also say data science. So one of the answer to this is that, as we all know, data is increasing in all industries, not only oil and gas. In every industry, data is increasing. So if we can use this data and build some application that are conventionally possible, but this data assisted application can also help those conventionally possible applications, right? So if we take an example, if you all guys know that in past 5 to 6 years, there is a rise in shale oil, right? Shale oil and shale gas. So we and the physics behind the production of this shale oil and shale gas from our reservoir is still a topic of research, right? But in the past 5 to 6 years, we have a lot of data regarding this shale production, or you can say about the reservoir of shales. So we can use that particular data and build an application regarding this shale production prediction. That conventionally is still not possible, but by using this data assisted method, we can do that. So one of the reason is this, and second reason is building your own, you can say, oil and gas software, right? If you know a programming language and you know oil and gas basics, or you know oil and gas equations or workflow, you can build your own oil and gas software. That's why these are one of the two major reasons that every petroleum engineer should learn Python at least. If you're not going into data science, at least learn a programming language. And in today's time, I guess Python is the most simplest to learn, right? Yeah, the answer.
Okay, so let's start. Someone asked in the chat, is there any number of slides that we'll be sharing? No, this is not going to be a slide presentation kind of a session, but in fact, we want to bring in front of you what are all the projects that we have done over the course of last few years. And our idea behind this is to let the audience know the things which are possible using Python for oil and gas, and to develop a portfolio of their own if they get to learning these things. If we do not meet anytime in the future in any of the course, if in case you want to get a job as a data scientist in the oil and gas industry, because we started as a petroleum engineer, both of us, we did a few things which ultimately happened to please the industry to get recruited as energy data scientists. So we want to showcase all the things that we did as petroleum engineers using petroleum concepts on Python. We want to showcase all the projects which are possible, kind of explain a few things, and then we will have a round of questions and answers. So I will first share the resource.
Yeah, I want to just add one more thing here. As
Yeah.
Divyanshu already mentioned, this is not going to be a slide type of webinar. We kind of more believe in showing the things that we are actually doing instead of showing the slides, right?
Yeah.
So that will be more easy for you. And also, as Divyanshu is going to share the GitHub projects and all those things, I will be sharing the links to our GitHub profile where you can find various oil and gas projects, as well as LinkedIn profile also. So you can connect with us if you have any questions. Hello to you, Divyanshu.
Jayesh, can you confirm, is my voice breaking, or is it clear?
Yeah, your voice is clear.
Okay, so I think someone in the chat, maybe you can check your internet. I'll share my screen and we'll get started with the session. Okay. Let me know once you see my screen in the chat.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. All right. So basically, this is my GitHub repository, and I think Jayesh will share the link to this. And in this, we will look at a few projects that are done using Python. And we work on Python. We do not work. People have a doubt whenever they start data science journeys whether they should pick R or Python. Which of these programming language should they pick? I would recommend picking up Python as non-programmers, because the syntax in Python is pretty understandable, and that makes things very, very fast. We get to doing projects really early. So that's the benefit that Python brings, along with its capabilities that you will understand as you move towards machine learning, etc. You will realize that Python has a lot of superpowers. Okay, so this is one of the repositories where I have oil and gas data analysis codes using Python, right? And here you can find out a lot of projects. Like, for example, one of my favorite projects that deals with a reservoir engineering problem statement, and you must have heard about Klinkenberg effect, right? So we can look at Klinkenberg effect, and we can solve the same problem using Python. Again, to remind everyone, this session is just to introduce you to the things that can be done using Python in oil and gas. And your idea behind this session is to drive a lot of motivations and ideas, how you can transform a lot of things from textbooks to Python. So if you are starting off with Python, spend 2 weeks understanding Python as a non-petroleum engineer. Okay, spend 2 weeks understanding as if you do not know anything about petroleum engineering, go through various YouTube videos. I think Jayesh can share Petroleum From Scratch playlist as well. We have a lot of Python related tutorials right from scratch. I think 90 plus videos are uploaded from scratch that tell you teach you Python from basics. Then what you can do is parallelly, for example, pick up a reservoir engineering book, let's say LP Dake or Tariq Ahmed or whatever, and you can follow those books, the textbook examples that they have. You can recreate them in Python. So from that only I got this idea. And if you ask me where to code, if you do not have a great computer, you can search on Google Colab, and you can go there on Google Colab and you can open up a new notebook, right? So this is Google Colab notebook. There's also an where is it? Why is it not opening? Google Colab notebooks. So you can just search Google Colab. I think the URL has changed. Let's not waste time on that. But yeah, so you can open up Google Colab and you can directly code on there. So for example, this is a notebook that I created using Google Colab. It just requires a Gmail account and you can directly start coding. Again, this is for those people who do not have too much RAM on their computers and they don't have a computer like we did not have initially. So you can start with Google Colab. You can see this is a Colab environment and you can definitely go ahead and code things up. So you can see this is a Klinkenberg example. In Klinkenberg example, what we have to do is basically we have an equation, a textbook equation given by the scientist Klinkenberg. And the idea is to find out liquid permeability with an initial guess of air permeability available to us. Always, whenever we do core flooding, we normally do not do core flooding with water or any other fluid because the wettability factors are into consideration. So whenever we pick up a core sample from the reservoir and we have done air related core sampling, core flooding, the permeability that we obtain during gas flooding or air flooding is a bit higher because gas or air is always non-wetting to the rock. So can we find out the equivalent liquid permeability without having to do the liquid-based core flooding separately? Because if we had to do liquid-based core flooding, we cannot trust the solution and it would take a long time, and then the separate procedure can cost a few amount of money. But if we could do that mathematically itself, that would be a better way. And we can do that using Python. So this is an example that helps you understand how you can solve the entire thing. The numerical algorithm used is called the Newton-Raphson's method. It does nothing, but it uses the computer's power of iterating through the formula every now and then to reach to the final solution. So again, the same algorithm is listed down in Tariq Ahmed. The entire problem statement is explained. How to solve that using pen and paper is explained in Tariq Ahmed. If you spend 1 to 2 weeks on understanding Python, and if you recreate that same thing using Python, this will give you a lot of confidence. And the idea behind getting a data science job in Python as an oil and gas engineer is to let the world know that this is a project that was there in the textbook. Now I have a tool created on basis of it. And this is highly appreciated in the industry. If people are from the industry, some people are from the industry, they must be realizing the importance of various things that are there. So for example, the simulation softwares, commercial simulation softwares, most of them are built on Fortran programming language. But they were coded, right? They were coded in the backend. So if you understand a programming language, those days Fortran was the popular language. But if you understand a programming language, you can create your own commercial softwares as well. There is a reservoir simulation playlist on YouTube that explains this entire reservoir simulation theory using Python codes. And I also took a few webinars. So there are a lot of resources that get you on speed. How to solve a partial differential equation using Python. So this was one example. So in this oil and gas data analysis repository, you will see a lot of other examples as well. For example, this is an example where you can do calculus with Python. One of the most famous practices that I loved when I was learning Python was to recreate mathematics using Python. So in Python, the way to learn Python is to spend first 2 to 3 weeks understanding simple Python, how to write a command in Python, nothing else, how to open a Google Colab notebook, how to type print hello world in Python, how to add two numbers in Python, how to subtract, divide, multiply, a lot of things in Python, how to do an if and else condition in Python. So spend first 2 weeks. Again, the resources are there in your chat box. But your first step is to understand the basic Python. So spend first 2 weeks on understanding basic Python. Okay. And then you understand tools like NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib to visualize these things, to analyze data. NumPy gets you better on calculations. You can do sine theta, cos theta, tan theta. Like I said, mathematics in Python. And then you can solve problems related to well test analysis, related to a lot of other things. For example, all regimes well test analysis is a code notebook that I created very closely following the textbook called the textbook from Mr. John Lee. And I followed that notebook using these packages like NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, Seaborn. And I solved the entire, and this is with you in the chat. You can follow this up, but this is with you in the chat, and you can see step by step, I have solved the entire well testing algorithm in order to figure out what all flow regimes exist in this kind of reservoir. What are the flow regimes? Do I have a hydraulic fracture? Do I have a spherical flow? Do I have a radial flow using the well testing theories? Okay. And I'm expecting as a petroleum or an oil and gas engineer, you must know the domain concepts already. All you need to understand is Python. And I am definitely sure that even if you do not know Python before this class, and if you take this resource and follow me as I'm doing these things, you will definitely be able to get at least 60% of what I'm doing. Okay, so this was one example. Now someone will ask me, like, how can I start step by step? What are the resources to be followed? Okay, so to start step by step, again, going back to my GitHub repository, there is a, you click on the repository section. There will be a petroleum data science and machine learning with Python, where you will have step-by-step tutorials. So for example, you will have Python crash course. Okay, there it is, Python crash course. So if you click on this and you open a Google Colab notebook parallelly along with this, you can follow every step that I've done. Like I told you, first few weeks you have to spend on these things, adding two numbers. Just type 1 + 1 in Python and press Shift + Enter. The answer is 2. Subtracting is easy, division is easy, multiplication is easy, rounding a number is easy, finding the remainder is done using a percentage symbol, flow division to find out the remainder, variable assignment, how to store numbers in variables. Okay, how to follow certain rules in Python using variables, how to store statements and sentences in Python using double quotes at the end or single quotes at the end. Okay, how to print a statement in Python, how to print a variable along with a statement in Python. What is a list in Python? Okay, so given the interest of time right now, I thought the best way to introduce Python for oil and gas would not be to do all these things step by step, because we are way more capable. If we do these things, we can do it in 15 minutes. Some people can do it in 10 minutes. So I would leave the resources. Mohammed has asked, are these materials downloadable? You do not need to download anything. It's there on the internet, and it will always be there on the internet, open sourced. All you have to do is follow every code. For example, you copy this code like this, Control C, open your notebook, Google Colab notebook, paste it there, run it, and see if you're getting the same output like this in your notebook also. So this is the way to understand Python. First step is to recreate the entire notebook on your own, copy pasting it, and then understanding what is happening. Okay, so you do not need to download. The idea behind GitHub is to store everything on the internet so that everyone can learn together. Just imagine if I was dependent on downloading when I was learning, I would not be able to showcase what I learned. Today, I'm able to deliver these sessions because of the cloud. So everything is stored in the cloud, which is a good thing. So don't focus on downloading, just copy it, paste it in your notebook. Try to understand what a list is. Try to remember what a list is. Understand the concept. So anything, in using a list, you can store data. So you can see 1, 2, 3 are 3 different data points. And when I store them within a square bracket, they become a list. So you can see 3.14, 2.73, reservoir drilling, 70.6, coefficients, porosities is a list. Maybe all these porosities are from different core samples within the same reservoir. So you have to understand all these technologies, all these tools before you develop a program. Okay. So you can keep on going. You can do operations and manipulation on a list. You can append something on a list. You can keep on going forward. You can create a 2-dimensional list, just a bit advanced. Then there are other data types in Python like tuples, sets, dictionaries. In a dictionary, that's a most perfect way to store data. For example, if you have different kind of data, like for a particular depth, you have porosity also, you have permeability also. You can store that using a dictionary. So phi has these data points and permeability has these data points. So you can store all these data using dictionary. So depending on what problem you are solving, the kind of data type that you are using can vary on. Okay. So it's very important to know these bits and pieces before you diverge yourself to a project. So this is the ABCD of Python. Okay. So I hope everyone has no, you don't have to, Deepika, you don't have to memorize anything at all in Python. Again, you will have all these links which Jayesh is posting in the chat. So you will have all these links with you and you can definitely follow. Even most companies like Google, Microsoft, etc. People from those companies also appreciate the skill called how to Google, how to search, how to use the internet. So you never memorize anything in data science or in Python programming. Never. So you don't have to memorize anything at all. Just follow the notebooks that we are sharing in the net. Just follow whatever resource that you like. Okay. So this session is not to promote any particular resource, but just to motivate you the workflow on how to get better at Python for oil and gas. Right? Just keep on following your passion in oil and gas parallelly as you learn Python. For example, people on other courses, they explain dictionary using their examples. Like my age is this, the height is this, and so on. But I'm explaining a dictionary using porosity permeability example. So every time you create something, if you understand a concept from a non-oil and gas course, try to recreate it using oil and gas examples. That way you will be able to understand these things better. Okay. So these were dictionaries. Then there are operators and statements. Just to check, for example, I'm creating a program where I want to check that if at this particular depth, the porosity is greater than this one, then only proceed with the next part of my program. Otherwise, do not proceed. So these kind of things can be done using greater than symbol, less than symbol, double equals to symbol, all these things in Python. A double equals to symbol is nothing but how to compare whether two things are equal in Python. Okay. So then there are logical operators. So basically, this is a notebook that is going to be your ABCD, the step 1. Whenever, if you have zero understanding of Python, you can just directly start with maybe this particular notebook. Okay. And make sure whatever links Jayesh is pasting in the chat, you create a Word document or something for all those links so that you can follow them after you understand the workflow. So maybe you can use this link as step 1. Okay. Step 1, for example, you go back after this session. If you cover this link, everything that you have done, if you cover just this link, you will have good hands-on basics of Python. Okay. Python for oil and gas is very well understood after this particular notebook. For example, after all the things that we just looked at, you can directly move on towards Darcy's law example, how to create a function that can help you find out the flow rate using Darcy inputs. Okay. So all these things are there. For example, how to create a function that calculates API gravity. Okay. how to create a function that calculates API gravity. So for example, if you just provide specific gravity as an input, it returns the API gravity using this particular formula. Okay. So all these things might look a bit advanced on the first sight, but again, a reminder, this is not a course. This is a motivation for Python for oil and gas. You will never find, if you do not know the workflow, you will keep on roaming around in the blind, in the dark. You will not have a pathway to follow. Okay. And that's why we are targeting this session in a particular specific smart manner. Once you understand Python for oil and gas, you can follow mini projects. Okay. And that itself becomes, I mean, some of these projects were given to students in a master's class as well. Masters, they are pursuing masters of petroleum engineering. And because Python itself, because no one guides you well in Python, these projects are advanced already for most of the people, but not anymore if you follow the particular procedure. Right? So there you see NumPy. Jayesh has a playlist specifically built on NumPy. You can follow Petroleum Data Analytics playlist on YouTube, on Petroleum From Scratch channel. You will have that, right? And you can see how to plot a sine curve in Python, how to figure out the... So this is an example where you can find out a root of a particular system of equations using Python. For example, one equation is sine theta, sine x, and the other equation is y equals to x. You want to find out where these two functions intersect. So you can see the red line is the solution. I have solved for the intersection of two functions purely using Python. Okay. So then again, Newton-Raphson's method. You see, I've explained this mathematics first, but if you have followed the entire session till now you can carry on this entire thing using Python. Once you carry on this thing, you can solve the Klinkenberg example very easily. And there it is, a homework example with a YouTube link provided. So trust me on this thing. If you follow the links that I have shared and the links that Jayesh is sharing in our GitHub repositories, you will have absolutely no issues in following the workflow of Python for oil and gas. Okay. So this is one notebook that everyone has to definitely repeat every line by line. If you do, you will have great tools on your back. Even if you are a highly experienced reservoir engineer, you will be like, yes, I used to do these calculations by hand, but now I can save a lot of time. Right? So majors in carbon capture, I think we can have a separate discussion on that. Like, again, the workflow remains the same. Python as a tool has to be understood. That's the step one. NumPy, pandas, everything. But then everything that you read on papers, for example, one practice you can follow is you pick up machine learning papers from 1Petro or SP or somewhere. You pick up papers on carbon capture and machine learning applications, and you replicate them using the Python knowledge that you have. That can be a great boost in your renewable energy data analysis career. Maybe figure out, do a data analysis project on finding out which localities are highly adapting to electrical vehicles. Which of these areas are highly susceptible to environment endangerment? Where are majority of the species going extinct? You can use Python to analyze these data sets. On LinkedIn yesterday only, I posted how to plot these things using geography maps. So you must have an idea first, but the tools have to be understood. And the tools will be understood by following the links that we are sharing. Okay. So this was one thing. Let me go back again. And then there are data visualization crash course available as well. Okay. So all these things, we also have YouTube videos on Petroleum From Scratch channel for these notebooks. So these notebooks are from sessions that we have taught back in days. And you can follow the notebook as well and parallelly listen to us, listen to me and Jayesh. Whoever who taught this, you can listen to me speaking about these things. Okay. So you can see relative permeability plot in Python. Okay. Improving your plot. Maybe if you are doing a research, you want to do these things. For example, the porosity distribution for sandstones and carbonates. Your idea is correct that porosities of sandstones are normally more as compared to carbonates. And you can see the data is also showing that story, right? So how to do these statistical plotting? What is a box plot? What is a outlier? All these things, you will have questions as you go on in your data science career, and you can follow these notebooks. Okay, so you can see these are doing multiple plots in Python. For example, what if you wanted to do a well logging plot in Python? There is a way to do that, and this is the way. Just replace the current plotting thing, which is right now a parabola, with the well log data, and you will have a well log plotted as well. Okay, so there is like more than 500 to, I mean, thousands of notebooks available on both of our GitHub repositories. So definitely go check it out. In the interest of time, we cannot absolutely cover everything. But again, there are projects as well. For example, for people who are into well test analysis, etc., you can follow that as well. There is a predicting oil rates with machine learning project that we have. If you want to look at decline curve analysis, you can pick up petroleum data analytics. This has a lot of projects. You can create a DCA tool. If you are working on a particular field, you want to get better at Python programming, you can grab the production data from that particular field and fit a decline model on that and do some reserve estimations and verify your calculations with what was actually going on in the field. Okay, maybe, I mean, if you get promoted, I'm always happy to have a party from your side. But you can see these are a few projects. You can see well test analysis, semi-log analysis, bordet analysis. You can see the well test example in Python. This is a log plot. All these things done using pure Python and automated. I have also created apps from these workflows where data input, result output. Okay, so semi-log and all these things. Then there is this is a DCA project. We start with raw noisy data. Okay, noisy data. I think Jayesh, you have shared the link for YouTube as well, right? So
yeah, I have shared the link.
Yeah, please share it again. So yeah, so this is a DCA example. So this is a very noisy data that we start with, and then you see after running just a few lines, this is only a small little code, 3 chunks of code, and we have a decline model with us. And it does not take time as well. It takes less than 1 minute to run. And you can extend this forecast to the future, and it will tell you what is the reserve estimation for the future, maybe P10, P50, P90. And you can use these along with your, if you do not want to use, if you are working for a startup, you can be the tool developer for your own startup, because not everyone can afford to buy the tools. If you know the math, why not create your own tools? Why not replicate the CMG workflow for reservoir simulation using Python? Right? So these are a few projects. And then again, this one, the predicting oil production rates. This is a machine learning project where we explain the impact of data analysis. Okay. If I show you the data plot, you will understand what's going on. So ideally, the orange data is the actual data, and the blue one is the results of the machine learning project. So you can see the machine has understood the decline trend automatically using Python. And then you can use whenever the ARPS assumptions are not followed, which means the decline curve models will fail. You can use it along with machine learning forecast. So you can see this is a model with black line being the forecast for the future, which is a bad, and green was the actual production for the future. This is a bad model. Then we improve the model, and this model performs better. So just imagine the possibilities that brings in. So I hope everyone now understands. Jayesh, please paste the link again. Maybe some people have joined later on, so they don't have.
Yeah.
So these are a few projects, and then this is Jayesh's GitHub. So the good thing with Jayesh's GitHub is the fact that everything he has already provided as a guide. So if in case you want these links, you can directly go to Jayesh's GitHub, and you can figure out where all these things are located. Okay, so you can see the repositories are down here. Petroleum data analytics repository. And if you are using GitHub, and for example, I'm interested in this particular repository that is there, right? So you can see oil and gas projects, pandas is there. Again, another tool using Python. So you can fork this repository. When you click on fork button on GitHub, what happens is this repository is copied to your own repository. You do not have to again and again go to Jayesh's repository. Okay. And if you want every new project that we upload, if you want to follow every new project that Jayesh uploads, you have to click on the follow button. Okay. And then if you hate Jayesh, you can click on the unfollow button as well. So all these things you can do, follow along whatever workflow we just talked to you about. So step 1, I'm typing this in the chat. Step 1 is what? Understand raw Python basics. Okay, no NumPy, no pandas, no fancy things. Okay, it's just simple print, add, subtract, functions. I'm typing in the chat. Okay, functions and if else and loops, etc. So this is your step 1. I've already shared the link to the notebook that has all these things, but the step 1 is to understand these things. Then step 2 is to understand NumPy. Step 3, do projects like Klinkenberg. Link is with you. Step 4, pandas. Step 5, visualization, matplotlib and Seaborn. And step 6, ML. Step 7, go back to step 1. Okay, so this is your pathway towards becoming a petroleum data scientist or a machine learning engineer working in the oil and gas domain. And down the lane, you will have doubts regarding where to find data sets from. So some of the data sets are available on our GitHub, but you can follow kaggle.com for that as well. So I think I'll stop here. Jayesh, if you want to add anything or share anything, feel free.
Yeah, these steps, as you mentioned, I'll be sharing a photograph of that particular thing. Or wait a minute. Actually,
I'll stop
let
sharing.
me share my screen. I will.
Yep.
Yeah, is my screen visible?
Yes, Jayesh, I can see your screen.
So if you open the Petroleum from Scratch channel that we have shared, there is this one playlist where you can find all the steps that we have mentioned: petroleum data analytics and machine learning. So this is the video that you need to see how to be a good data analyst as a petroleum engineer, and it has all the steps that Devanshu has mentioned, right? And also, if you go through this video, me and Devanshu has talked about the complete energy data science journey, right? So I'll be sharing the link of these two also. So go through these videos, you will get a good idea. And this complete playlist again, I'm sharing it again. So if you see the image itself, it is saying all the steps that I should just mention. Learn the tool, and in our scenario, we are going to be learning Python. Pick a topic of your choice, or pick a textbook like we picked the LP deck for reservoir engineering, right? Now practice as much as you can with the problems that are present in that particular textbook. Implement all the Python tools that we have learned, and then again pick a problem. As if you remember, Devanshu has shared in his GitHub that he has shown you a Klinkenberg effect, right? As well as he also shown you well testing analysis, right? So if you similar type of thing I have also done, but with a different problem statement. Actually, I have shared this particular link also. Gold from Jurassic playlist. If you open, you can find various oil and gas examples here also. For example, I have tried to make a complete material balance in Python. Similar thing that Divyanshu has done with the well test analysis or Klinkenberg, I tried to do with the material balance as well as IPR and TPR. And if you go in the Divyanshu's oil and gas data analytics, you will find a lot of projects related to oil and gas, right? So all the steps and everything is mentioned in this particular playlist. So go through this particular video and you will be able to answer. Reshma is asking, I am not from BTech or MTech petroleum engineering, but geophysics. Now working as a data analyst in oil and gas. Can you suggest me some textbook for basic petroleum engineering? So basically for basic petroleum engineering, for reservoir engineering, you can follow Tariq Ahmed or LPDEC. For production engineering, you can follow Boingo. Right, basically these two engineering are the main step. For drilling, you can always follow HWM.
Edison has asked, what is the difference between using simulators and create a small program that does the same thing? The difference is that if you are a job aspirant, if you want to make a mark in data science industry, this program that you will create will make your case very strong. If you write in your resume that you have built a small one-dimensional or two-dimensional reservoir simulator in Python, it will make chances of you getting a oil and gas developer or data scientist job way easier. Because majority of the people, even the students, they are very well versed on most of them. They know how to follow the Python petrol workflows or whatever. But this is someone else's tool, right? I've heard industry leaders speaking about knowing what the software is doing is more important than just pressing the buttons. Knowing what is happening in the backend, you can recreate it. That's when you will be a part of the core team that is developing that product for the future as well. Because these companies are also improvising their softwares which are pre-built. So if you know how that software is built, you will get a chance to be a part of that team. That is a way higher authority as compared to other teams. So that's something that I personally believe, the motivation, but you can definitely have difference of opinions there. So geophysics, I've shared a great professor's playlist, which is called the Geostats Guy on YouTube. That's a playlist which explains all these things, Python for geophysics and geostatistics. So you can follow that. I think that playlist has around 10 to 12,000 subscribers already. That's a great playlist to concepts like kriging and kriging and all these things, simulations and random Monte Carlo simulations. So all these things are defined very well there. Okay. So what do we need to do become a data scientist in the oil and gas industry, and can we apply for a postgraduate in data science with a bachelor's degree in petroleum engineering? You can definitely follow a postgraduate course if in case you can afford it and you want, if that course motivates you. Personally, neither me nor Jayesh, we have not spent too much money on doing these things. We have spent a lot of time trying to figure out how can we learn data science in the most cost-effective manner in this industry. And we've realized that we can do them, right? Both of us did get an opportunity to work in the industry, and we are continuing to get opportunities. So I don't think spending hefty amounts of money on master's courses are that relevant. If in case you want to do courses with us, like Edvantage already told you, we are also coming up with Python specific oil and gas course. Previous courses were basically more on machine learning and data analytics based, a bit advanced, but we realized that most of the guys actually need deep Python understanding first. So this webinar is to introduce how Python can be understood. And if in case you want to be associated, you follow that course. Anyone? future in data science for a geologist, I think data science is almost like mathematics. It has its legs everywhere. Almost all the projects, all the industries have their own applications. Unfortunately, we are from the upstream side of things and moving towards energy domain. So we cannot talk about geology that much, but maybe, for example, there can be a project, for example, mineralogy classification. You have thin section images, and you can use a machine learning project that can tell which part of the thin section represents feldspar, which section represents quartz or other kind of minerals. So there are projects being done like that. So a huge research opportunity there. So
yeah, he's saying future in data science for geologist. There is future in data science in all the field, no matter whether it's a geologist.
Absolutely.
Satya, how to become a petroleum geologist? Again, the steps will remain same that Divanshu has already told. Learn basic Python skills, these libraries, NumPy, Pandas, and Matplotlib. Then learn how to become a petroleum geologist or a petroleum geologist data scientist. Sir, I have a question. Maybe petroleum is finished after some year. Then how our future is bright in petroleum? Okay, so maybe petroleum will be finished, but you also have this another skill known as data science, right? And data science industry is not going to be finished. We just want you to use this skill data science in petroleum engineering. Then if petroleum is performing well, that's good for us, right? But by chance, if there is a chance that petroleum industry has collapsed, you have this another skill data science, right? That can be used everywhere. Data science or AI industry is never going to be collapsed in near future. Stimulation is one of the method in petroleum engineering to enhance production by reducing skill value on wellbore. Okay, yeah. Simulation is different thing and stimulation is different thing. So yeah, any other questions?
Yeah, I think do get in touch with the Edvantage team for the courses which are coming up. We keep on interacting with the community for various oil and gas, Python, analytics, machine learning, mathematics related courses. We also keep on uploading for those who cannot afford. We keep on uploading a bit of, whenever we get a little time, we upload things on Petroleum From Scratch or LinkedIn. But if in case you want to have a dedicated course where you want to ask live questions to us, we are coming up with Python for oil and gas course as well, which I think will be released. The information can be discussed with the Edvantage
Yeah,
team.
Edvantage team, you guys want to...
Now you can take the floor. Yep.
I'm stopping my screen sharing.
Yeah, so I, Ritesh Kumar, on behalf of Edvantage Institution, would like to thank Divyanshu sir and Jayesh sir for making the webinar enlightening and guiding us in the world of changing trend of oil and gas industry. Thanks to all the participants for joining the webinar. And I would like to say that if you have any further queries, then you can contact and you can write us on our mail ID info@advantage.org.in. Thank you.
Okay, thank you everyone. Good luck. Happy learning. Take care.
Yeah, thank you everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you,
Happy
sir.
learning.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much.